Ah, there you go, friends. Doc South here, and I was just thinking of some of my favorite things, and I know. I guess if I was to pick my most favorite job, I guess I got to say it's when I did radio. I did dearly love being on the air. Oh God, I loved it. I don't think so. You said, well, Doc, go get a radio job, but they're pretty hard to find, and in most cases now, it's I don't know. Radio has become more of an argument clinic. It's like everybody's just it's all call-ins and people sore and mad about this or that and eh, that I don't know. I liked doing radio because it was because I would play these old tunes, invite in some wild guests, the people that would come in and we'd have these great talks and or instruction or thoughts. It was nice. It wasn't a matter of the stinking Republicans or the derelict Democrats or what have you, or what's happening in the Middle East, or eh, that stuff's important. Don't get me wrong, but it's everywhere now. It's pretty much just one after another of people complaining and cussing away now, and I don't know, just not for me. But so you say, so Doc, what about the supermarket? Well, I like working in the supermarket, but that's okay. But I'd say if I had to pick my most favorite job, it'd have to be being a Boilermaker. Yep, I really did like that. Working in boilers was just couldn't have been better, at least where I worked. I worked out of Williamsport, Pennsylvania. By the way, the town of Williamsport, at least back in the day, I don't know if it's still the case, and we're talking 30, 40 years ago, they had a number of factories that made boilers. And when I say boiler, I don't mean that little thing in your basement. I mean a boiler the size of your house. That's a kind, yeah, or bigger. In fact, there were boilers being made that would make a house look like a dollhouse. I mean, by comparison. Oh yeah. Oh, there's boilers. Some of them easily 3 stories high and higher. In fact, way higher in some cases. And that's I worked around them. And I sure you if one of them, I guess you could say, Doc, that sounds kind of dangerous. And yeah, it was. But if you run a boiler right, it's not dangerous. In fact, it's rather nice to have it on, especially in the winter. Or if you want to get a product made, like, if you're, for whatever reason, or if you want to see some electricity and you're coming out of your outlet at home, yeah, you kind of need boilers for a lot of these situations. And when they broke, it they pretty much had to be repaired post haste because you're running without steam. Now, in some places where they had enough money to do it, they would have boiler A and boiler B. Boiler A was running, boiler B was just waiting for his chance, for its chance to go on. And if for some reason something happened to boiler A, well then you fired up boiler B, repair boiler A, let boiler B take the load for a bit, and that's where we came in. And you come in, and we'd be driving these pickup trucks and all sorts of baloney and weird looking tools, things for threading pipe and stuff for the hand hammers that you'd use for breaking down the bricks that's inside the firebox, and all sorts of stuff for mixing cement, but not just plain old cement. Cement that could take all sorts of temperature. Uh huh. Yeah. Insulation, uh, fiberglass, asbestos. We actually worked with a lot of asbestos. Thank heaven I always wore a mask because that asbestos, you don't want to be getting that in your lungs. But I would wear this real tight fitting mask with filter port pods on both sides, and you just change them periodically, and you'd be okay. But you'd come out of a boiler firebox sometimes after doing asbestos work, and you'd look like a snowman with it all over you. Yeah. So you kept the mask on and rubbed it off and got out and basically do that outside where the wind was blowing. And it would be hot. Sometimes you climb into a boiler, it'd be 100. Well, 100 would be kind of cool. Sometimes they'd be a lot hotter than that, to the point where you can only be in there for maybe a half hour and you have to climb out. Next guy goes in. He comes out after a half hour. And the whole time you're thinking, boy, is that beer going to taste good when we're done with work. And it did. Yeah, well, I drank my share of beer then. No, not Boilermakers. Beer was kind of what it was. Whiskey and such, a mixed drink, an old fashioned might taste good, but it's not. No, I think it's the beer kind of says it all. When I think you get your you get the moisture back into your body. The fluid balance comes back because you did so much darn sweating. The beer just is it's the right thing. Water, yeah, you could drink water, but water don't get you half lit. And after a day inside a darn firebox, you kind of need to be at least a little half lit for the ride home. Crying out loud. No, not a good idea to do it riding home. We'd usually, some guy wouldn't drink as much and he'd be the driver. But it's, I don't know. I liked the people I was with and the stuff we were asked to do, and getting it done was just a real, I don't know, you stand back and look at it and say, wow. And then the boiler would belch fire, and you'd be on. Well, we're on our way, ma'am, and off you go. And it was kind of cool. I can't kick. Gosh, I'm getting ready to sneeze here. And again, being in a boiler, you did a lot of sneezing, and yeah, spitting up soot and stuff. Not barfing soot, just soot. I know. I wasn't married to Molly then. I was to Sandy. I was married to my wife Molly, and I'd bring home my clothes, and she'd just look at them and say, oh my God," and you kind of had to wash them before you could throw them in the washer. Yeah, it was that kind of dirt. Oof, sweaty. Oh gosh, but it was a living. Yeah, so, and it was interesting. It was kind of fun to be part of that scene. Anyway, I'll see you later. I just thought I'd mention. You want a good job? Yeah, I think working around boilers is you just go in with the idea you want to learn, and you'd be surprised what fun it can be, and the money ain't too bad. Comes in handy. I'll see you later. God bless.